The DFW real estate market has been very interesting lately, especially with the recent Fed rate cuts. So I want to go into the market data, compare that with what's been happening with interest rates so you can stay informed. If you're shopping for homes or looking to sell, but you're not paying attention to the market, that could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. In this video, I'm going to break down the key stats that you need to know about the DFW real estate market so that you can make the best decision possible for you and your family. I'm Lindsey, your property geek, a realtor in Fort Worth servicing the entire DFW area. Whenever we're looking at real estate market data, I really feel like there are three important points that you need to understand. One is the inventory of homes, basically how many homes are for sale and the factors that are affecting that. Obviously pricing, everyone wants to know about pricing because that's what we care about. But the third thing here is buyer activity. So it's not just enough to know how many homes are for sale, but how many buyers are actually interacting with the market, actually looking, because that, especially as a seller, you really want to know when you're focusing on getting the best price for at the fastest possible time for your home, you need to know those things. So let's dive into homes for sale. What we're looking at here is the overview of homes for sale in the DFW area. I like to break this out by the four main counties, like all these numbers. In DFW, because they do about 80% of the business throughout the DFW Metroplex. So looking at this, you can see that there's some seasonality here. Up and down, the summer months obviously usually have more homes, the winter months have less. And we're gonna dive into the two numbers that really affect homes for sale here in a second. I wanna change this. So right now we're seeing this as a monthly view. So each data point is 1 month. We're gonna change this to a rolling 12 months so we can remove some of the seasonality here. And what we're seeing is a pretty stark trend here for each county moving up and up and up so that every month, using a 12-month rolling average here to remove the seasonality, what we're seeing is that we have been increasing inventory every single month, really since about January 2022. I can even zoom out here. Let's go to 5 years. And you can see we took this big dip when the market was really booming, and then about April, May of 2022, it started going up. We flattened out a little bit in 2023, but really it's just been moving up this entire time. And that's important. As we look at this, we need to know that inventory is moving up, so we have more homes on the market, meaning if you're a seller, you have more competition. If you're a buyer, you have more to choose from. There's pros and cons to both of these. So the two numbers that we really want to look at here when it affects homes for sale is one is new listings. How many new homes are being put onto the market? Once again, when you see monthly, it gets a little jagged, even when we're going across whole counties, it's a little up and down jagged, but you can still see there's seasonality to this. Once again, when I come here and I do a rolling 12 months, we can iron out some of that seasonality and see here is that even though we had a slight dip in 2023 and new listings coming onto the market, it's been rising pretty steadily since. So keep that in mind as we look at closed sales. We'll switch over to here. And now, so we're already on the 12-month rolling scale here. And we can see since 2022, it has dropped dramatically. Now, when you look over here, you can see that most of these numbers are up versus last year. So we have started seeing a slight recovery here at DFW. And I think that is mainly to do right now with the interest rates that have been dropping. And we'll get into that a little bit later in the video. But the interest rates have been dropping recently. And I think that is encouraging more buyers to come on the market. We'll take a look at buyer activity also here in a second. Now, when I break this back to monthly data points, again, it gets real jagged. Let me smooth it out just a little bit and do a rolling 3 months. And so what we can see here again is for the closed sales, we normally see those in May, June, July, and August, in the summer months again here in DFW, whereas the new listings are really around April, May, June. Now, it is encouraging seeing most of the counties are up. Collin County is the winner here at 9.5% more than last year, while Tarrant County is staying pretty flat at 0.4%. So that gives you a good look at homes for sale on the market. And this really matters when you're thinking about, as a buyer, well, I want more choice. I want to be able to look at a lot of different homes so I can make sure I find the one that really fits me. You're seeing that more homes are up for sale because we have more listings hitting the market than we do have sales closing. And so that number will continue to rise On the flip side, as a seller, we're seeing homes for sale go up. So more than likely in your neighborhood, that's the same case. But it's not everywhere. So as a seller, you really need to get more hyper-local and focus on your unique neighborhood and areas that might compete with you that are near you. What's the inventory look like there? Because once you know that, you'll know how strong competition you have. Is it growing? Is it getting more competition, less competition? This all goes into a complete pricing strategy to make sure that you are positioning your home as the obvious choice. Now, next, we're going to move over into buyer activity. So there are three things you need to know about buyer demand. The first, we're going to start with pending sales. Now, we don't include pending sales with closed sales as part of inventory because on average, you're looking at about 75% of pending sales will turn into closed sales. Pending sales don't always go through, but they are a very good indication of what's coming on the rolling 3 months here. And it looks like most of our counties here, or all of these counties, are positive year over year on pending sales, which is obviously a good indication that buyer activity is picking up. In fact, let's go to our rolling 12 months and look at it. It's obviously down quite a bit from previously, but you can see especially Collin County has picked up quite a bit, while Denton County looks a little flat, but it's up 3%. Tarrant County also pretty flat at 1%. They're not up a bunch, but the fact that they're trending up at all when they've come down quite a bit in the last couple of years is still a good sign that buyer activity is picking up. Let's go here to shows to pending median. And we're looking pretty flat across the market. So let's switch to average. And in Denton County, we're up. And Collin County, we're also, this is analyzing those homes that actually went under contract. And these are all up. So, that's interesting as well. But again, it's showing you more buyer activity in the area. I can even look at this 12 months. And this does show down across the board here. Well, Denton County is flat, Tarrant County is flat, but for the most part, you can see a fairly downward trend with these lines. We are still seeing depressed buyer activity with showings, at least, throughout the area. However, looking back at what we just went through, our pending sales are up, which is good. It's a better indication. Showings are one thing, but actually offering and getting accepted contracts is a completely other. So the pending number is the one you should really concentrate on because this is showing intent to purchase. Showings may or may not mean that they're really serious buyers, but pending sales obviously means that they're serious buyers. So with that number up, that's a good indication here. So let's dive into the pricing data now. There's two different numbers you want to look at with pricing. One is, what do the pricing of the houses look like? As typical, Denton County and Collin County lead the market in pricing. Collin County has been the most expensive county for a while now. And however, it is down 4.9%. So you can see this trend downwards from the peak in 2022. That's continuing. And Dallas County, however, is up. So when you look at this, it's like the slight little tick up here. So they really kind of bottomed out here at the beginning of this year, December and then January of this year. And then they've been rising since. Now, Tarrant County is similar, but it took them a little bit longer to rebound. And they've been up the last couple of months, last 5-6 months as well. If I take this and I remove some of that seasonality again, you can see Tarrant County is staying very flat. Dallas County is trending upwards, while Denton County and Collin County are trending down. Well, I thought Denton County they're still trending pretty flat as well. Collin County is really the one that's coming down, telling you that that county probably needed a little bit of a price correction here. So let's look at that second number, and that number is percent of original price. Now, what is this measuring? When you're looking at percent of original price, what you're looking at is what kind of discount the buyer got off of the list price, off the original price. So if a home lists at $400,000 and it sells at $300,000, obviously now there's a 25% drop. When I look at this, we're looking at that 12 months again. So this is kind of flattened out a little bit. We can see that this trend is going lower. Lower number here is better for buyers, meaning buyers are getting a better discount. When you look over here, back in 2022, at the top of the market, buyers were paying anywhere from 1 to 4% above the original list price. Now, these numbers are still all trending down over the 12-month period. So let's look at more recent data. Go back to the 3-month rolling average here. And they're still down, but not quite as severe. You can still see we're still looking at 95.6 to 97.3, with Tarrant County homebuyers getting the least discount. So sellers in Tarrant County, your values are holding stronger than anywhere else at the moment. Dallas and Denton are tied neck and neck here at 96.3, with Collin County, once again, kind of corresponding to the other price data. People in Collin County are getting the biggest discounts. So wrapping all of this up, what we're seeing here is increased buyer activity based on our pending. We are seeing that seasonal movement again, though, which is good. So inventory, and going into the winter months here, fall and winter months, going into the fall here, inventory will start to dip again, which we want. We want that seasonal movement in DFW. We don't want the craziness of the COVID years. So you're going to see inventory start to dip, meaning sellers, you're going to have less competition. Buyers, you're going to have less choice. It doesn't necessarily affect some of these other market dynamics because there's less buyers. So what you're seeing here is sellers, you still need to be very strategic when you're pricing. Your price needs to accurately reflect the condition of your home, its location, and any unique amenities you might have. That all goes in your pricing strategy. And unfortunately, one of the few things you can't control is your competition. You have no way to know how many homes are going to be listed on the market when you are. You can try to come on the market when there's less. And then the next week, they could blow up and there could be 20 more listings. You just can't control that. So what you need to do is keep a constant eye on your competition, see what they're doing, and make sure your home is priced and staged and presented so that it is the obvious choice. If you need help doing that, please reach out to me. All my contact information is in the description below. You can reach out. Yeah, I have some free guides you can also get that will help you through those decisions. Buyers, you can still get really good discounts based on this market data. What we're seeing here is an on average 3 to 4%. These stats don't contain or seller concessions. What this is money that the seller can contribute to your closing costs. That can get a little murky. Just know it's like a rebate check or a coupon at closing. So if your closing costs with your down payment and the cost for insurance and taxes and your loan fees and all those things all wrapped up in one, let's just say it was $50,000 with your down payment and all that stuff. Well, the seller could contribute $10,000 out of their proceeds to your closing costs. After paying $50,000, you only pay $40,000. And for a lot of people, this has been the real win because they can use that money to buy their rate down, which over the course of the loan saves them a ton of money. So even with rates, which we'll get into here in just a second, even with rates where they are, I've been helping people get loans in the 4 to 5% range, saving them thousands of dollars a year off of their mortgage payment, making it very possible for them to move from a renting situation to an owning situation. Or even better, a move up or move down buyer that says, I really want to sell my house, but I don't want to lose my good payment. Well, we can help you do that with the right buying strategy to make sure that the seller is helping you buy that rate down. It takes a little bit of extra patience to make sure we're finding the right deal. However, it's still very possible in today's market to get an extremely affordable payment and still without breaking the bank, really. All right. So now you've seen the market data. Let me dive into interest rates to wrap all this up. Now, I know just enough about mortgage rates to probably confuse you, but I'm going to walk you through this a little bit. If you are curious about what the Fed rate cut is doing to mortgage rates for the real estate market, subscribe to my channel, hit that like button on this video. That way you're notified. I'm going to put a video out very soon about what that means for you and mortgage rates coming up. But let's go over briefly what's happening right now. Keep in mind, what you see here on the side are averages. Your mortgage rate could differ wildly from this, and it's all based on your personal information. So we can look at trends. And if the average is going down, then your rate would probably be going down as well. We just don't know exactly what that number would be. When you look here, you have 30-year fixed and 15-year fixed. These are conventional mortgages. You're typically going to pay a little bit more for these. That's why you're going to see these rates as a little bit higher. However, in certain situations, again, this is why You need a really good loan officer. In certain situations, they make more sense and you'll actually save money with these. But you want to talk to a loan officer to dig into the details on that. Most people are probably going to use, especially first-time homebuyers, you're going to use this FHA loan. A lot of people are going to use this because a lot of people bought their homes using an FHA loan. And then when they refinanced, usually during the COVID years when rates dropped ridiculously low, they probably got a conventional loan. So most people that I run into are using FHA loans at the moment because the rates are so good. So whereas that same house at $350,000 is $2,178 with a conventional loan, it's only $2,105 with an FHA. Now, it's not huge, but when you calculate that over the year, it's almost $1,000 you saved. And if you get the seller to buy these down, well, that saves you even more. So let's look a little bit. We're going to zoom in a little bit here over the last year. And now what you can see here is we peaked really earlier in the year, but we peaked around May and we've been steadily dropping ever since. It's been up and it's been down. It's been a wild ride. Just recently, we were down as low as 5.91. So we've ticked back up to 6.03. But if this trend continues, which I know I hope it does, and the experts are predicting that it will continue to drop. We have no idea where it's going to go or how it's going to get there, the ups and downs. But if it continues to drop, you're going to see buyer demand continue to increase. And so going back to the market data, as buyer demand increases, those homes for sale are going to start dropping. We don't want that to happen too quickly or else we're going to create another 21 or 22. And I know some people may want that, but I think it was too volatile of a market. So, but as you see those rates drop, you are going to see more opportunities for buyers to enter the market again.